Artificial intelligence is used to perform human-like tasks. AI uses machine learning and in certain cases natural language processing. Data is being used from data inputs to give the appropriate data outputs. You could say AI is the science of humans copying computers. It supplements our existing technologies, improves the accuracy of results, it learns from the data it's provided with, and it gets the most out of the data. It's currently used in all kinds of sectors such as healthcare, banking, and in retail. It recommends videos for you on YouTube and gives you answers to questions via Siri or Google. We tend to view AI as this impartial arbitrator, efficient decision maker that can generally do things better than a human being, and therefore it being more trustworthy because it's machine based and does not have an ulterior motive unlike a human being. Well, that's the saying at least, or the thought process behind it. This all seems brilliant and I do love it. However, is AI the godsend that it seems to be? What if AI actually exacerbates some of the problems we already have in society? Clearly that would be a bad thing. So I just wanted to highlight some of the issues with AI so that you guys can be aware of it. What if AI negatively affects your ability to get a loan or maybe a rental apartment, let's say? Artificial intelligence was supposed to use a neutral and effective way of assessing statistics, records and data and provided a streamlined, efficient and accurate outcome in determining loan eligibility. What if we've actually found is that it carries forward inherent biases such as racial prejudice in its outcomes? Societal problems that have existed are not being corrected even when we outsource the decision making process to supposedly impartial AI systems. So how the hell can a computer be racist? I mean, there's no such thing as a racist baby, right? The prejudices are learned throughout time, resulting in a human being with a prejudiced mindset. The AI systems are really similar. AI can only learn from the data inputs it's provided with. If the data inputs contain biases, the outcome AI spits out are influenced by the biased information, resulting in a biased outcome. The dataset is therefore obviously very important. The size of the dataset, the variables used and the accuracy of the data is determined at the human level. So how will we know when AI has made a bad decision? How will we know when it's discriminated against someone because of the colour of their skin, religion or neighbourhood they grew up in? Many companies that use the machine learning systems do not want to be transparent because the algorithms they use are their intellectual property. Disclosing this information could give their competitors an advantage. Some companies are not aware of how the AI came to make its decision. All they actually know is that the AI used data from a particular set of variables and the rest is history. So we won't actually know how did the AI come to make its decision. The only loser in all of this is, let's say, the person that gets rejected from the loan. How do we force companies to be more transparent in showing how their AIs arrived at a particular outcome without infringing upon their intellectual property rights and providing their competitors with trade secrets? There are companies that have tools in place to explain how AIs came to a particular decision, but these companies are few and far in between. GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, means that businesses that have EU-based clients must comply with the regulation or face fines of up to 20 million euros. The GDPR allows for the right to have human intervention, which is a right to receive a justification for the automated decision, which is at least a starting point for some recourse. However, GDPR does not mean that a thorough explanation is required by the company using your data to be given to you. Answers may not provide the depth you need in order to understand why you may have received a poor credit score, for example. An improvement could be if the AI using organization told you why you were being denied from a loan and what you can do to ensure you get a loan in the future. However, if the answers are still based on inherent biases, then the problem just remains. For example, the AI might not say that you were rejected from your tenancy application because you're black. It might instead say you need to earn £1,000 more per year, whereas an identical applicant, bar the colour of their skin, might only have to increase their income by, let's say, £200 per month to be considered, all because of past biases in the dataset. Data scientists have to ensure that the datasets they are using are legally compliant, as well as ensuring the datasets used are fair and accurate. They must ensure that certain groups of people are not omitted from the dataset. The onus is ultimately on the employer when it comes to private companies, and we might have to watch this space carefully as one might not be aware of when they are faced with an injustice, and secondly, one has to know how to get justice when an incorrect decision is made. We still need to come to some agreement nationally and maybe even globally as to what depth AI-derived outcomes are explained. Where's the line drawn between complete disclosure and non-disclosure to protect intellectual property rights / trade secrets? A universal standard that makes both the companies and consumer happy is required. Alan Winfield, professor of Robert Robot Ethics at the University of the West of England, is heading up a project to develop industry standards for AIs that aim to make them transparent and so more accountable. A watchdog could be created in the near future to address all of these issues. I'll be keeping an eye on this space going forward and will update you and let you know how you can protect yourself in the future.